Hey, howdy, hey, Fazbear Entertainment employees and the rest of you. Wolfman 47-S. So, since the Five Nights at Freddy's games have begun, the lore and the sort of story have been left quite vague in all the games, particularly the ones that Scott Cawthon himself worked on, and it's left to people to figure it all out themselves. So people can obviously do their own research, or they can just listen to people like the game theorists, Darko, 8-Bit Ryan, and all those other Five Nights at Freddy's enthusiasts to sort of delve into it and figure things out from there. Because sometimes some of us are lazy. But something that most people do kind of agree on about a certain character in the Five Nights at Freddy's games, Purple Guy specifically, is that he is pretty much the main antagonist of the franchise, if not the main antagonist of the Scott Cawthon era, by which I mean the games that Scott Cawthon himself developed before handing the reins over to Stillwell Studios to work on other games, and also other studios as well in the case of Into the Pit. So let's talk about him. Now, Purple Guy, in my opinion, is a character that was originally a business partner for this other dude that ran Fazbear Entertainment, or the sort of precursor to Fazbear Entertainment, and they ran a restaurant, which was the main restaurant you see when you play as the crying child in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Now, in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, the crying child is being tormented by his older brother and his friends because he doesn't like the classic animatronics, and they all wear masks, which as such leads to him having sort of nightmares or hallucinations of nightmarish versions of those animatronics, eventually, which he has over a period of a few nights. And obviously the Five Nights at Freddy's 4, we are actually playing as that crying child, experiencing that sort of thing going on. In a quite a unique Five Nights at Freddy's experience, in that we are still fending off against animatronics, but we don't have access to security cameras, we don't have things that can protect us, we just have to fend with a flashlight and just by listening. But anyway, so yeah, he gets tormented, and eventually this leads to what many describe as not the bite of 87, but the bite of 83, in which the crying child is put into the mouth of one of the animatronics, specifically the one that people refer to as Fredbear or Golden Freddy. I think they're both separate entities, but anyway. And yeah, he has brain trouble and then eventually dies. It's quite sad, that. So after that, it's understood that because the crying child and his older brother are the children of Purple Guy, and also he has a daughter as well, the crying child eventually dies. The older brother gets put in jail, and the daughter, well, I'll get to her in a little while. So after that experience, Purple Guy becomes less of a business partner, more of a sort of serial killer, murderer, whatever. As for the rest of the sort of time you play as an employee at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzas in the locations that come after that, he then begins to sort of kill children secretly as the Springlock character that would eventually become Springtrap. So he does that, and in doing so, he kind of goes into this facility, which is the sister location, and kind of sort of tries to sort of see how animatronics inhabited by the spirits of children would react to him doing stuff to them, in a sense. So you got Ballora, who just outright refuses to do anything. Circus Baby, who is implied to be his daughter inside, but we don't know. So that happens. Then in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and 1, he's continuing to kill these children, and then eventually he does get found out. So it's implied. So eventually he does get found out, in the sense that the spirits of the children, thanks to the spirit of the puppet, there's the sort of spirit inside the puppet or marionette, whatever you want to call it, releases the spirits of the children, and then they corner him So having no choice, goes into a springlock suit, and he gets killed by the springlock suit just by breathing inside it, because it's kind of an motion censoring sort of thing, because once you breathe inside it, everything happens and you just get mutilated and killed. So that's what happens to him. And then in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, some investors decide to create Fazbear's Fright, to sort of be a homage to what happened in the Five Nights at Freddy's series at that point, up to that point. And he managed to find a Springtrap suit as the one and only animatronic that's still alive and kicking. And because Purple Guy, the spirit of Purple Guy, is inside this suit, he spends the remainder of the time in excuse me, got a cold. He spends the remainder of Fazbear's Fright trying to get the security guard, being the only animatronic being able to do so. And eventually Fazbear's Fright is then burned down to the ground, and it's then implied that he's well and truly dead. But then, as the events of Pizzeria Simulator tell us, he's actually not far from dead, and he's one of the animatronics that's brought to this new location. But eventually, if you follow the canon sort of ending, this new location is then destroyed by his other business partner.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still even remember that name. But I'm afraid you've been misinformed. You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called. You have all been called here, into a labyrinth of sounds and smells, misdirection and misfortune. A labyrinth with no exit, a maze with no prize. You don't even realize that you are trapped. Your lust for blood has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of children in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near, yet somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will. This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. I am remaining as well. I am nearby. This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still, and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace, and perhaps more, waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole, so don't keep the devil waiting, friend. My daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well. It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms, the way you lifted others into yours. And then, what became of you? I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now. It's time to rest, for you, and for those you have carried in your arms. This ends, for all of us, in communication.
Who wants to bring an end to everything. And that's basically the end of Purple Guy. Or so we thought. So after that, we then have Ultimate Custom Night, which is implied to be William Afton, who's the name of Purple Guy, is experiencing an endless nightmare where he's having to fend off against animatronics because he is in hell. But then that's not necessarily the end of his reign of terror, because creatures within various games and so forth that are in the Steel Mill games come out to sort of try and continue his reign of terror by trying to kill more children and doing other bits and bobs. Yeah, William Afton is a very complicated character, and definitely one that's definitely with villainous intentions, but understandably so, because he had one child that was tormented for so long, another child that was sent to prison, and this led to him killing his other child. And obviously he's very complicated and a bit mad and bonkers and so forth. But he does make for a good villain, in the sense that he is complicated. We have to sort of understand what his motivations are to do all these things, And obviously, a lot of us do have our own takes on what we think of how things played out. Like, some people will think this thing, some people think another thing, and this is just my take on it. And I should explain why I'm not wearing much. Purple Guy is a character that doesn't wear much in the games, or it's implied that he doesn't wear much in the games, hence why I'm not wearing much. Although in the film he does wear clothes, so yeah. So yeah, I don't think there's really much else I can say about Purple Guy. He's a complicated character. He's probably the best of the characters that in Five Nights at Freddy's, in the sense that he has a lot of lore to him, a lot of theories about him, and all this other stuff as well. And you kind of try and piece the things together when you play the game. Some people play these games sort of just wanting to get through the Five Nights and be done with it, and then others like me want to play the games and try and get all the secrets, but at the same time just trying to get through the games and all that. Bearing in mind that I did come in quite late in playing the games on YouTube, because lots of you will have played it by now. So yeah. So that's pretty much what I think of William Afton / Purple Guy. Very complicated character, one of the best characters in Five Nights at Freddy's, and I've not read the books. Well, I have read the books, but not too much, and I don't really remember them that well. And I'm hoping to one day own the comic book series and see how things are played out in those. But yeah, William Afton's definitely a person you definitely do not want to employ in your facility, establishment, whatever, because he is a messed up sort of individual. So yeah. And that's all I've got to say. So share what you think in the comments about what you think of William Afton. And apart from that, thanks so much for watching. If you want to subscribe to my channel, please do so. I upload videos at various times during the day in the BST/GMT time zone, because that's where I live in. And if you like the video, give it a like. If you want to share with your pals, share with your pals. And as I say, if you want to leave a comment, please do so. See you in the next one. Peace to you all. Do not go to work naked, unless you're Purple Guy or whatever. And definitely, and if you are facing a trauma like what I've explained here, do get help. Do not do anything deadly or dangerous to try and cope. Definitely get help, for God's sake, because, you know, you don't want to do things that he did. It's very messed up, whether it's true or not. So, yeah. Alright. Toodles!